All right, let's jump right in. In this explainer, we're going to talk about something called the ripple effect. We're going to break down how every single thing you do at work, no matter how small you think it is, actually creates these waves that go way beyond just you and end up shaping your entire organization. So, let's get started.
You've heard this a million times, right? Everything happens for a reason. And yeah, people usually say it about big life moments, but at its heart, it's just talking about cause and effect. In the workplace, this isn't about destiny or fate. It's about consequences. Every action has a reaction, and that's the core idea we're digging into today.
Okay, so let's bring this big philosophical idea right down to your desk. How does cause and effect actually show up between 9 and 5? What does it mean for that email you're about to send, or the meeting you're in, or that deadline you're trying to hit? That is exactly what we're about to unpack.
And that brings us to our first big idea, the power of one. It's all about seeing that your actions are, quite literally, the starting point for everything else. You know, it's so easy to feel like you're just a small cog in a giant machine. But the truth is, every huge success and every major failure a company has, it can always be traced back to individual actions, your actions.
So, what this really calls for is a kind of mindfulness at work. It's about being aware and intentional with what you do. This isn't about trying to be perfect all the time. It's just about recognizing that your actions have weight. They have meaning, way beyond just this one moment.
And that leads us to this really fundamental truth. No single action you take ever affects only you. Think about it. Every choice you make, every task you finish or don't finish, it's all connected. The second you do something at work, it stops being just your thing. It becomes part of a much bigger system.
So if our actions aren't just happening in a little bubble, how exactly do they travel? Well, this brings us to the key idea for this whole explainer, the organizational ripple effect. We're going to look at how one tiny action can spread from just you to the entire us, turning an individual choice into a shared reality for everyone.
Now, to really get the ripple effect, you first have to understand what a chain reaction is. It's not just a bunch of random things happening, it's a connected series. Your action is like the very first domino. You push it over, and it's guaranteed to hit the next one, which hits the one after that, and on it goes. And this journey here, it maps it out perfectly. Just look at how this thing escalates. It all starts with your one individual action. Let's say you miss a small deadline. Okay, step 2, that immediately impacts your team. Now they're scrambling or maybe staying late to catch up. Then, step 3, that delay starts affecting the entire department's schedule, maybe even pushing back a big project launch. And finally, step 4, if this kind of thing keeps happening, it starts to shape the entire organization's culture. All of a sudden, your company gets a reputation for not delivering on time. It's amazing how one tiny drop in the water can create such a massive wave.
We all know this saying, and it's not just about some cosmic karma, you know? In a business setting, it's about very real consequences. You do something positive, like taking time to help a new teammate, that creates positive ripples of teamwork and growth. But if you take negative actions, like cutting corners to save time, those will absolutely circle back, usually as much bigger problems down the road. The effects of your choices always find their way back.
Okay, so we're all out here creating these ripples, whether we mean to or not. What's next? Well, understanding that you have an impact is one thing. The really critical next step is owning that impact. So this next part is all about moving from just doing things to being truly accountable for them.
And this is such a crucial difference to understand. Responsibility, that's about doing the job. You might be responsible for writing a report, but accountability, that's about owning the outcome of that report. Was it accurate? Was it useful? What happened because of it? See, you can delegate responsibility. You can ask someone else to do a task, but you can never, ever delegate accountability for the result.
So what does being accountable actually look like day to day? It really means you have to get past excuses like, well, I was just doing what I was told to do. Real accountability means you can stand by your choices and explain why you made them with solid, concrete reasons.
And here's a super practical way to do that. Think of these questions as your own internal checklist. Before you act, or maybe when you're explaining something you already did, can you clearly answer these? Why did I do this? What did I hope would happen? Who's going to be affected? And does this actually help us get where we need to go? Thinking this way is what turns a random decision into a truly justifiable, accountable action.
All right, we've gone through the theory, we've looked at how it works, and we've talked about why you need to own it. But now, let's bring it all back to the most important person in this whole conversation, you. The question now becomes a very personal one.
And here it is. This is the ultimate takeaway. The culture of your organization isn't some memo that gets sent down from the top. It's not a poster on the wall. It is the grand total of every single ripple from every single employee. It's what's left behind after every choice, every conversation, and every accountable action. You are actively co-creating your company's culture every single day.
So, as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with this final powerful question to think about. When you think about the next thing you're going to do at work, that next email, that next meeting, that next project, what kind of ripple are you going to choose to start? Will it be a wave of positivity, of progress, of collaboration, or something else? The choice and the impact always begins with you.